This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020. Number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Prov 39 LLC, DGB Ranch. This is your 5-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com. In a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
All the leaves are brown.
Well, good evening, everybody, from Los Angeles all the way to the top of California. We know we have a lot of listeners. Welcome to our virtual restaurant where the cuisine is always California politics, and the main entree is the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom, as you know, sponsored and driving at RecallGavin2020.com. Happy to be accompanied tonight, of course, in studio by our head chef, Orrin.
Glad to be here and ready to get to work.
And you know, Orrin, we've had a problem last couple of weeks. You know what that problem is, right?
We've had several problems.
Well, we have several problems, Orrin, but let's get to the main problem that has to do with this radio show. And that's we've been so backed up with phone calls and contents that tonight, to get everybody, we are actually doing a bonus hour.
Yes, we are.
And because we're doing a bonus hour, I had to call in some assistance, Orrin. I can't be the maitre d' all on my own, so I have called in to help us tonight on air, in studio, Eric Early. Eric, say hello.
It is so great to be with you and to help the chief maitre d' of the restaurant. I am honored to be here. Hello, everybody.
Well, I'm very honored, Eric. I've never had a person of your stature assist me before, except in a court case, but I'm not going there. Eric, for all the listeners out there, tell us a little bit about you, because I know you're really quite the star.
Well, I'm an attorney. I run a great law firm, about 25 lawyers. Just so you know, when I was back in undergraduate school, I waited on a lot of tables, actually, Mike. So I have what it takes to help you out today at the French Laundry. And in the 2018 election cycle, I ran in my first public race ever for Attorney General of the state of California against a guy that Joe Biden refers to as Javier Baccaria, his real name Becerra. And I managed to get almost 1 million votes around the state. It was incredible, my first ever run. And then in the last election cycle, I ran against the person I refer to as the pathological liar, the leaker, and the worst congressman of certainly in my lifetime, Adam Schiff. And it was an incredible race. And so that's a little bit about me. And I'm thrilled to be donating my legal services to help you two legends get rid of the guy I refer to as the empty suit.
You know, rumor is Adam Schiff is jockeying for a position right here in California.
That is so true, Orrin. That's the rumor. Baccaria is being considered right now to be Biden's Health and Human Services Secretary in the Cabinet. And even though he's got no qualifications for the job, but, he's got the right last name for the job. And he's being considered for it. And if he gets appointed, then Newsom gets to appoint his replacement AG. And the rumor is that Schiff is making a play to become the Attorney General of the state of California, which is remarkable to think about. You get a guy who's a pathological liar, who is just a disaster in so many ways, who turns every single position he has into an overly politicized. He doesn't care about what the position's for. It's all about politics and helping the people for whom he carries water and help himself get further up the political food chain. So he'd be terrible for California. But yes, that's a rumor that Schiff wants to be
business as usual in Sacramento.
Yeah,
because it's all about politics, not about the people. But Eric, since you ran for Attorney General, I got a question for you.
Ask away.
If you were Attorney General, what exactly would be the role in overseeing the EDD? I mean, I'm never really clear on that.
Well, the EDD, I think you're referring to the $31 billion that have been stolen from the EDD.
There's $31 billion that's been stolen from
That's
the EDD?
what they're saying.
Oh.
Yeah, and you guys know better than anybody else. Can all be traced back to the completely incompetent one that you guys are leading the recall effort for. The Attorney General should be investigating every single thing about it. And if there are people culpable, even in our state government, such as the governor, the Attorney General should be looking into that. But the Attorney General should be doing whatever possible to get to the bottom of it, get as much of that money back, and prosecute those that took the money.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
If Xavier Becerra or Becerra, depending how you look at it, right, were put in charge of Health and Human Services for the entire country, doesn't that put him in charge of all welfare for the country?
You know, I don't know exactly what Health and Human Services does. Has something to do with Health and Human Services, though. But all I know is that job is usually filled by somebody who works in the health industry, the medical industry, whether they're in the private sector as an executive or they've been a medical care provider of some sort. And Becerra has no such background whatsoever.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a background of supervising California very well. Or, you know, something I just found that Eric said, which is very interesting, that when he ran for Attorney General, Eric, it was a lot of work to get 1 million votes, wasn't it?
Well, it was a lot of work. You know, whenever you campaign, it's a lot of work. I love campaigning, though. I love going around the state talking to all of our great citizens. You know, you guys know better than anybody else. I mean, first of all, let me say this. I am honored to be working with you guys on this recall campaign. I was brought in, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But you guys have done, just for everybody listening, Orrin Heatley and Mike Netter have done something that has really never been done in the history of the state of California and perhaps the history of the United States of America, which is get now closing in on 2 million or so signatures. When getting rid of Gray Davis, there was only 750 or so thousand needed, and that was a Herculean effort. So these two guys I'm sitting with here, frankly, are legends, and they have already, not just them, this incredible team of volunteers you guys are working with, thousands of people. It's unbelievable. You guys have already... There's no doubt in my mind that when this empty suit, Newsom, lifted that stay-at-home order 3 weeks or so ago, that was because of the Recall Gavin 2020 campaign and all the people signed the petitions. That guy's freaking out, and you guys, now this is being covered nationwide, and so I'm very honored to be a part of this.
Thank you. And it's what my point being, Orrin, I'm going to let you announce it because the head chef should announce the menu. What exactly is our count that we're announcing this week?
Right now, we are at 1,825,000 on our way to the 2 million mark.
That's unbelievable.
And it's very likely that we may surpass that. But, folks, like I always say, it's not time to pump the brakes. You have to run through the tape. You have to keep pushing forward, keep your foot on the pedal, keep the gas up, and keep the engine hot.
And, Orrin, because I'm a little hard of hearing with these headphones on, would you repeat that number again?
1,825,000.
I'm telling you.
On
Amazing.
our way to the 2 million mark.
And for everybody out there, again, as I say every week, it's the power of the people. Over 1.4 to 1.5 million of these signatures have been collected by volunteers.
But folks, we don't have forever to get these in. What is the deadline, Mike?
Well, the deadline is technically March 17th. However, I'm getting there. The real deadline for us to process them, and we're going to talk about a little bit about that later in the show, is March 10th. So realistically, everybody goes, I don't want to listen to the rest of the show. I don't need to hear this anymore. Look, for starters, we need the listeners. No, realistically, we need everybody out there not to pump the brakes, to keep going for 10 days, whatever it takes, because we have to get to 2 million. Remember, not that the Secretary of State, not that the Board of Registers, they lose a couple, some get disqualified. I'm not saying anything's up, but in case there was, we need to make sure we get to 2 million to get this on the ballot. Eric, I know you're involved in a lawsuit, right?
Yes, sir.
Not the one when I hit your car, but the other one?
You don't want to talk about that lawsuit, Mike?
Not right now.
He says he was only going 10 miles an hour. He's going 50 miles an hour. No, that's a joke. But yes, the lawsuit that Mike's referring to, there are several of us who ran in the last election. Several former congressional candidates have teamed up with the Great Election Integrity Project here in California. And so the Election Integrity Project is the lead plaintiff. I'm one of the plaintiffs. A couple other great former candidates are plaintiffs. I'm not the lawyer in this case. Election Integrity Project got a lawyer, and we are suing all of the registrar recorders in the state of California. Those are the folks that are in charge of, in every county in the state, the election process. We're suing the Secretary of State. We're suing Becerra. We're suing Newsom, and I'll answer your questions about what the case is about, Mike.
And that's one reason we're excited to have Eric on there. We're rolling up on a break. Everybody, we want callers tonight. That's the reason. So if you've got patience, if you've got a topic, we've got 2 hours tonight. You want to call? Grab a pen and write this down, or have a good memory. 1-800-222-5222. That's 1-800-222-5222. You're listening to 790 KABC, Friday nights at the French Laundry. Welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant of California politics, where the main entree is always the recall of our not-so-fabulous governor, Gavin Newsom. Before we get to talking about the process that Eric's going to talk about with election processing and what's coming next, when Orrin Heatley started this, him and I started this for a number of reasons. And I think it's important that we keep focusing on the reasons that we're recalling Gavin Newsom. Orrin, how did you get here from there with me tonight? Of all the places you could end up on the planet, tell them why we're here. What are the reasons?
I appreciate that. And some of the feedback that we get is because of what has been sensationalized in the media of late. And, the show, what it's based on, the French Laundry debacle, and the governor's mismanagement of the COVID shutdown, and the general lack of confidence in his ability to lead the state through this crisis. But this recall was started for a couple of different reasons. He basically had mismanaged our gas tax funds, and he took those funds and spent them on things that they were not intended for. And these are things that have gotten lost in the shuffle. People need to be aware of. You voted for your gas to be taxed, so that money could go to maintain the roads and maintain the highways, and that money has been hijacked by the governor and held hostage for other purposes, greenhouse, climate control, climate change projects that it was not intended for. He's created a hostile environment for businesses. People such as Elon Musk and Charles Schwab have fled the state to seek refuge in other states more friendly to doing business. We have the highest taxes in the nation, the highest homeless rate in the nation, the lowest quality of life Californians have ever experienced. But wait, there's more. This governor has been exposed for profiteering during the pandemic. What you say? How is he being profiteering during the pandemic? And you can talk about the no bid contracts that I think we're going to go into later.
We're absolutely going to get those. I think that's important to know. It's not only what Gavin has done, but it's what he continues to do.
Early in the process, one of the first things that he did when he took office was he imposed the personal health care mandate on the citizens of California, where our own tax-paying citizens would be penalized if they didn't carry health insurance for themselves. Now, Donald Trump went into office and he removed the national mandate, and this governor, one of the first things that he did was to reimpose that on our citizens. But this governor went a step further, and he offered those same services to individuals who are here in our country unlawfully, foreign nationals who shouldn't be eligible to receive those services here, free of charge.
Now, we've got 3 customers on the line. I'd like to take one of them, but it just occurred to me, we haven't had our cashier in yet. Randy.
Mike, what's going on, man?
Well, what's going on with you, my good friend?
Well, my Uber was a little bit late trying to get to the restaurant tonight, so I had to take a long route around the Ventura Boulevard off-ramp to be able to get to the point tonight, but I'm here live.
That's great. It's the good news is, Randy, you didn't have to take the bullet train, which isn't built.
That's true. Absolutely. Or I didn't have to go down the Grapevine.
Well, and at least you had the option of using and Uber.
Yeah, that's a good point. If
Right.
Gavin had
Yes.
it his way.
If he had his way, you wouldn't have had that option.
Uber was about to leave the state of California.
Yeah, isn't that just
Orrin
right?
Orrin only drove 6,000 miles in the last week and a half, up and down California delivering petitions.
Whoa.
And by the way, that deserves an extra shout out. These petitions, and there's no. James Brown used to say he was the hardest working man in showbiz. Let me tell you, I could tell you right now without a fact that the hardest working man in politics is Orrin Heatley.
Whoa.
And that's why all of
Amazing.
you out there feel like James Brown, good, because we've got all these signatures because Orrin's the one getting them delivered.
I don't ask anybody to do anything I'm not willing to do myself.
That's not true. You tried to get me to
true.
order pizza.
Oh, well.
But you guys, you know what was so amazing this week?
Here we are at
You
the
know what's
French
amazing?
Laundry
Here we
ordering
are.
pizza. Sorry, Randy. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Randy.
You know what was amazing this week was the coverage that we got from CNN. And it was off the charts amazing coverage that CNN gave us this week about the recall. And, a lot of people said, oh, liberal CNN, they're never going to go ahead and write a nice thing about you guys. It was one of the nicest, most heartfelt investigative pieces I've seen in a long time in this campaign.
Hey,
And it
Randy,
just
this
goes to
is
show-
Eric. This is Eric Early.
Hey, Eric.
How you
I
doing,
know
buddy?
who you are. I
So-
know who you are.
So,
You too, Matt.
Randy, just for those out there, Randy brought me into this a couple months ago. Thanks again, Randy. So, Randy, my question is why is CNN treating us right?
Because it's real news. And I think it's a testament to the 1.8 million people who have signed the petition thus far. It's an intriguing story. If you kind of look at, and I've said this before, if you were to go ahead and go into central casting and you were to find a group of just hardworking Californians who wanted to take down and force a recall of the most telegenic, right out of central casting, pin-up politician in America, it would be Gavin Newsom. And I think when you see just the drive and the determination of all of us and all of our volunteers, because we cannot, the ones who are running this is not us sitting in this radio show tonight. It's those amazing people that are just dedicating so much time and energy and effort.
The
to be able
mailroom
to make
staff
this happen.
behind the scenes.
These guys are sensational. But anyway, so they hung out with us. They were driving in Orrin Heatley's car with a super camera. And it looked fantastic. I was so proud. So anyway, never underestimate media. Never underestimate all media, because by and large, 98 to 99% of the media that we have been given has been nothing but amazing, positive, because it's a real thing now.
Well, and I think it was NPR that broke the news on the no-bid contracts, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct. It was a division of NPR.
That
One
is
thing
remarkable. Something is going on where we are starting to get the mainstream media actually supporting possibly getting rid of this.
Well, they
this guy.
realized the one key factor in this whole thing is that this is truly a nonpartisan effort.
Well, I also want to say, too, I want to give a little shout out to Randy here because this is really important for everybody hearing out there, for the things Eric has to say, for some of the people I talk to, like election integrity. Randy has taught me something the last couple months. First, don't pay so much attention to Orrin. Second thing he's taught me.
He told me the same thing,
I
Mike.
know.
I know. I still do.
So the second thing is really how to get through to the media. I was talking to Randy earlier today saying we think of CNN as as one big entity. We think of CBS as one big entity. One of the things Randy has been really good at, having done this for, I believe, more than a month, is finding the right segments of the media to get to, like the folks at CNN, to help push our story and cause into the national media. So it's true that they've caught on to what we're doing, but it's more important that the right channels have caught on.
I think the media, the people love the underdog.
Well, they
And
do.
Somehow along the way, the people in California became the underdog.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
if you look at if you look at what they did in the New York Times this week, I mean, it was a front page story in the freaking New York Times, and they camped out with our campaign for I don't know how many weeks, but the photo essay they did was phenomenal. I mean, I'm thinking this is the freaking New York Times front page, and it's about this incredible movement that, you know, Mike and Orrin and all of you guys created months and months ago with, you know, hundreds of thousands of volunteers. It is, and that photo of Orrin Heatley, can I tell you something? That is going to win a Pulitzer Prize, that photo. It even made me dewy.
Was that on the cover of the New York Times, Randy?
It was on the cover. I think
Orrin,
it was.
I need your autograph, man.
No,
I
wait
need
a
it. Not
second.
yours, Mike. Orrin, I
No,
need your
know that.
autograph.
Randy, I have one complaint for you about the media you have not done yet, my initial request. This is not done to like the old song, I, myself, Mike Netter, get on the cover of the Rolling Stone. So you have to work on that, right? That's been one of my lifelong
You got a face for Rolling Stone
There you go.
magazine,
I do have
Mike.
a face for
Mike
sir.
has a face for radio.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Mike, you look great on radio.
I know I do look
All
good,
right,
Randy.
back to work.
thing
Back
here.
to work.
Before we hit
But
the
that's
next
what's
break,
that's what's been fun about this, and that's why I think we're driving Gavin Newsom crazy.
Grassroots movement of all time in the state of California, and I'm sitting here with the legends behind it, and I got to tell you, I love it.
This is the largest ever attempted petition drive in our nation's history.
Amazing.
And it's just amazing that it's getting done. I want to hit a couple callers here. We promised callers tonight. This first caller, Eric, is built for you. I want to jump to Norma from King City because she has a question about voting by mail.
Okay.
So can we go to Norma here? Norma, you're on the air with Friday Nights at the French Laundry, and it looks like you have a question for the assistant maitre d' tonight.
Thank you ever so much. I got a notification in the mail that the state of California was going to be mandatory that we had to vote by mail. And I want to know, is this true? Because just because Gavin Newsom said it doesn't mean it's true. So I want to make sure that none of this goes on that happened with Trump and all the screwed up mail and everybody, their deceit and lies and corruption. That the state of California, when we do have a replace voting,
Yeah,
we
Norma.
have to
Hey, Norma,
vote by mail.
thanks for calling. This is Eric Early. I love your passion. Listen, this is what I understand is going on. As you know, we had this universal mail vote by mail garbage through the last election, and there's no doubt in my mind that's one of the ways they stole the election. I'm more political than these other guys here, but because I'm the political candidate. But what was just passed was that they have extended the universal vote by mail here in the state of California through into approximately next March. So the way they've set, and who knows, I'm sure, knowing these people up there in what I call the Politburo up in Sacramento, they're going to be revisiting again in March. So that's going to cover the recall election. They're going to have this universal mail-in balloting for a recall election. Now, that's not going to preclude you. They will have to have election centers as well to go to and vote. But, you know what happens when they have this universal mail-in balloting going on. It is incredibly troubling.
So does that mean that they will actually have a voting going to where you can actually vote
Yes,
in person?
they haven't done away with those.
Norma, we're going to do a segment on that in just a little bit. We appreciate your phone call. We're going to be rolling to break here pretty quick. God bless you, and we know you've signed the recall, right?
I sure did.
All right. Have a good. Thank you for calling from King City, California. Listen, before we roll to break here, if you're on hold, stay on hold. We will get to you. But next up, we are going to have a doctor in the house. One of our guests, Cordy Williams, who's a good friend of the recall, is going to be calling in. We promised you that he's going to be a guest tonight, and he will be soon. In the meantime, remember, out there, we need to keep pushing to 2 million. This is all about getting to the 2 million. So by the time they're through with what they're going to do, we've done our job, and we can get this on the ballot. Remember, election fraud won't matter if we don't have an election. So we need to make sure that we have a recall.
Call in to 1-800
222.
5222.
Orrin and I practiced that for weeks. It's 1-800
222
5222. 222. It's KABC, Friday nights of the French Laundry, 790, all the way from down south to the top of California. Recall Radio.
It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, A Better California with Executive Chef Orrin Heatley, Maitre d' Mike Netter, and the wise cashier, Randy Economy.
Well, Orrin's doing the cooking, but I've got news for you. We had a call on a doctor. And we have on the line here a great friend of the Recall, Dr. Cordy Williams, the Megaphone Marine, who is going to tell us about not only what he does, about what he is all about, but where he's going to be this weekend in relation to the well call. Cordy, how the heck are you?
What is going on, gentlemen? It's an honor to be on. I'm live at CPAC, and we are rolling in patriotism and rolling out the rhinos. And, yeah, I'm pretty pumped up about Sunday in Bakersfield. It's going to be epic.
Tell us a little bit, for starters, about Sunday in Bakersfield for those out there who want to go to it and what it's all about.
Yeah, well, it's just about really raising awareness around this dictator, tyrannical, gruesome Newsom that we have in office and trying to get people to really push 2 million plus so we can make sure in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl that we don't choke, because we got to keep throwing touchdowns because we all know that the Secretary of State is Gavin's buddy. So we got to keep pushing hard to get to 2 million plus.
Now, Cordy, something interesting about Bakersfield is this. For those of you out there that don't know, it's going to be at the Liberty Bell at Bakersfield starting 3 to 5. But here is one of the most amazing things. So, God bless the Central Valley. They are starting a caravan, which we used to call a parade, but we now call a caravan. It starts at 10:30 in Fresno, picks up people in various cities, and ends up down in Bakersfield about 1 o'clock, moving over to the Liberty Bell. Cordy, do you know about how many cars are going to be in that caravan?
Well, I don't, Mike, but I heard thousands. So I've heard a lot of really from some GOP insiders and people across the state. Really heard that it's going to be really big. I don't have a number, no, but
we actually have a commitment. Thousands are going to be actually at the rally. And Cordy, I understand you're going to be speaking there, trying to edge me out for stage time like you always do. Good luck with that. But we already have a commitment of over 500 cars in the caravan alone. And probably at 2 people per car, 1,000 isn't too far off the mark. And it's all about the recall. It's being sponsored by Joe Collins, the Recall Road Trip. It's going to be fascinating.
Wow.
It is really a center of California. We have 2 more events, as you know. I want you to talk about those in a second. But in the center of California, it's going to be a true celebration. Cordy, tell us about the San Francisco event in Sacramento next weekend, and also spend a few minutes here, and I'll try to shut up, not easy for me to do, about your organization 1776 and what you do and what you, as a Megaphone Marine, you're quite a dynamic speaker, stands for.
Well, first of all, I was just going to say I appreciate so much what you and Orrin and Randy have done across the state. It's epic. Nothing's ever been done like this in history. And the credit goes to you guys and then hundreds of thousands of volunteers and people that have committed their lives and their weekends to make this whole thing happen. But no, I could never edge you up on speaking time because you like to talk just as much as I do. We both have big mouths, and those mouths that God gave us are helping us reach a lot of people and helping us move the needle on freedom. But Sacramento and San Francisco is going to be March 6th. That's a Saturday. And that's going to be epic. We're going to start off in the morning with a cleanup with Scott Pressler. And Recall Gavin is going to have some, petitioners, so to speak, or signature gatherers walking behind us as we pick up trash around San Francisco and clean up San Francisco. We clean it up aesthetically, but then we clean it up by recalling this tyrannical snake that's in office. So we're going to be going door to door getting signatures. And then we're going to speak on stage at the San Francisco City Hall. And then the following day, we're going to make our way down to Sacramento, and we are going to be at the Sacramento Capitol just talking about freedom and talking about what a governor that embraces patriotic principles looks like.
Awesome. Randy.
Yes.
What do you think about getting us some extra press coverage? And if you, and this is more education, not specifically for these events, but for these events, if I'm doing it, because I get this all the time, right? We're doing an event here, an event there. How would you generate publicity, getting press to show up local or otherwise at Bakersfield, San Francisco, Sacramento, for example?
Well, I think whatever we do now is newsworthy, and we've been graced by God, so to speak, and the media gods, because whatever we do now is news, and it's usually front page news, and it's usually news that will appear on CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and all the other alphabet channels. So I think, we're driven by people, and the media has fallen in love with the movement. And I don't mean that in a very light manner. I mean that in a very dramatic way. So let's go ahead and put our thinking caps on. As you know, Mike, and Orrin knows, and Eric knows, and even Cordy knows, we make this stuff up as we go along. and thank God for creative people, and thank God for the energy of the volunteers and the heart and soul of the movement. And wherever we go, the media will follow now.
Absolutely. Cordy, tell us, we got about 2 or 3 minutes left here before we have to roll the break, and I want to take a call. And in fact, I'd like you to help me take one of these other callers here. But tell us a little bit about 1776. Not the year, Cordy, but your movement itself and the website and how people can get a hold and contact your organization before I forget.
Yeah, well, we came on the scenes right after May 1st, after a video went viral where I spoke against tyranny at the Sacramento Capitol and talked down some riot gear police. And, after that, we went around the country and around the state teaching people constitutional freedom, talking to them about it. We rolled that into a Thursday class that we do 6 to 7 on Thursday nights. And, our whole goal is to raise up candidates and ultimately have a super PAC that puts people in office. So we're just educating, motivating, and then mobilizing. That's our goal.
And how is that operation funded, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's funded right now on T-shirt sales. When somebody goes to 1776foreverfree.com and they purchase a hat or a T-shirt, that funding goes towards us being able to do these rallies, do these classes, continue to do what we do. We're at CPAC right now, just to be candid, on T-shirt money. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to get funding. I've got a new chairman of the board, Theo Hansen, on board. And we're moving and motivating. We're really excited about the future.
Cordy, is there a way that people can donate if they don't necessarily need a T-shirt?
Yeah. If you don't need a T-shirt, you just go to 1776foreverfree.com, click on the Donate Now button. You can make a one-time contribution or a reoccurring. And Orrin, I appreciate you asking that. One of the things I always encourage people to do is, even if you make a $5 donation one time, that is a huge donation. If that's your last $5, we are so blessed and thankful that you were willing to donate it to us.
Cordy, thank you very much. I want to be clear for the general public why we're on the radio, that all the money you gave me for Cordy absolutely got to him. I'm kidding. 1776 sells great merchandise. Go out to these, help support our buddy Cordy Williams, the Megaphone Marine. Cordy, thank you very much. I know you have an incredible busy week. You're going all the way from Florida back to Bakersfield from San Diego. We appreciate you, brother. We look forward to seeing you down at Bakersfield in a couple days. Thank you, my
I love
friend.
and appreciate you guys. You guys are family. God bless you guys.
Before we roll the break, and she's been on, I think I've got a couple minutes here. I've got only 1 minute. Okay,
Mike, let me just jump in real quick for all you dog lovers out there. Lady Gaga's 2 French bulldogs have been found unharmed. Just wanted you to know that.
I'm a little confused, though. Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
How come she offered $500,000 for the
I don't
bulldogs?
know if anybody paid it, but I'm glad the dogs are okay. I don't care much about her either.
No, here's my question.
Yeah.
How come she didn't offer reward for the guy that shot the dog walker?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, get back my dog.
No, that guy's not getting paid. No way.
That's just,
I'm just glad the 2 dogs are okay. And I'm sorry, Mike. Go back to what you're talking about.
It brings up an interesting point. It shows what liberalism's gone today. Protect the dogs, the heck with the people. Listen, we're rolling up here in a break. We'll get to the 2 callers online afterwards. In the meantime, you're going to call 1-800
222
5222. That's 1-800
222.
It's Friday nights at the French Laundry up and down California. Stay on hold if you're there. We'll get to you before we go to Eric in the next segment. KABC 790. Pay attention, Recall fans. We have to get Gavin out of office.
You've only had an appetizer. This is your Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Oren Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
And they're backing up the door. They're backing up on the lines. But have no fear. We have a bonus hour tonight because our political appetizer is so tasty, especially going to be very satisfying when we call Gavin Newsom. Before we go to Eric, who's going to talk a little bit about legal type things having to do with election, being an attorney and all, I'd like to take Maria from San Francisco. Maria, how you doing?
Hey guys, I love you. I'm your Gavin groupie. I am your Gavin groupie. Hey,
No,
Oren,
you're a
shout
recall
out to you.
groupie, not a Gavin groupie.
Okay, recall Gavin groupie. Well, Oren, I'm going to make a plug for Kevin Kiley's book. It puts you, Oren, in the front line. I'm learning so much about you. Shout out, much love to you. I'm dying to see you guys on March 5th. You know what time you're going to be at City Hall. So I'm going to see you guys and say rock on, guys.
I think it's March 6th,
You know what time you'll be at City
actually.
Hall?
Isn't it March 6th?
Saturday, either way.
Saturday.
Yeah. You know what time you'll be at City Hall? Do you have any idea yet? Or we'll find out more information.
I think it's...
I will look that up, and we'll have all of that information. I thought Cordy was covering that, but we'll get all of that information.
We're not that
get
bright.
that out.
We'll have that online. But thank you, Maria.
stand
Anybody
by.
we could do in San Francisco, which has actually been strong for signatures, we really appreciate it.
She caught me with my
Yeah,
mouth
we
full.
have
That's
at
all.
least over Marina D has been rocking in San Francisco. I heard they had a really great weekend, so San Francisco loves the recall.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do with everything they do. We really do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
I know that. Well, let's get back to what you're doing, but I have your little screensaver, and I see you all the time. So I got Oren, I got you, and I got Cordy, and I got Tim. I see you all the time. So I just know you're with me all the time.
Tim Holiday rocks it. He deserves a shout out every show. He does a lot of our pub everywhere, and we're going to see him in Bakersfield this weekend. So a shout out to Tim Holiday, who I know is listening right now. Thanks, Maria. Let's go next to Janice from Santa Clarita, who wants fish on the menu, I understand. Newsom's appointments are a bit fishy, you're thinking? Talk to us.
Yes. Hi, Oren. First, I want to say hi, Oren, Mike, and Eric. Love you guys.
And Randy. Don't forget Randy.
Oh, Randy. Sorry. My question is, with Gavin appointing Alex Padilla to replace Kamala and Shirley Weber replacing him and possibly a new attorney general if Becerra gets confirmed, are we, the voters, going to be able to have a say? Or is there going to be a special election to vote who we want to fill the rest of these
I can get in
terms?
there and answer that one, Janice. Thanks so much for calling in. This is Eric speaking. First of all, it is really remarkable that we start off with a governor who's completely incompetent, who's about to be recalled thanks to the greatest recall movement in the history of the United States of America, led by these two gentlemen who I'm sitting near right here, which is really amazing, and all you amazing volunteers out there. And it's really remarkable that you have that kind of person, meaning Newsom, with the ability to appoint. He moved Alex Padilla, the Secretary of State of California, who I wouldn't trust as far as I could throw him. He moved him over to fill Kamala Harris's Senate seat. He then pulled out this woman named Shirley Weber from the Assembly to be our new Secretary of State. And if Becerra gets appointed to Biden's cabinet, if that gets confirmed, then he gets to appoint an attorney general for the state of California. And then what's going to happen is, to answer your question more specifically, Padilla is up for election in 2 years in the 2022 election cycle, because that's when Kamala Harris would have been up for election. So hopefully Padilla could get voted out of office. And then Shirley Weber, who is now the Secretary of State, will be up for election also in 2 years, and hopefully we can vote her out. And then if whoever the new Attorney General is, whether it's Becerra, if he doesn't get confirmed by the Senate, or the new Attorney General appointed by Newsom, that person will be up for election 2 years too. So that's the way we get rid of them, is vote them out in 2 years.
Randy, you want to weigh in on that a little bit there? Because I've heard you rant oftentimes about a new Secretary of State and what it means to the recall.
You know what? When Gavin Newsom picked a backbench member of the Assembly, Shirley Weber, to take Alex Padilla's place. He did that for one reason, for political cover. But the great thing is that we're a little bit smarter than Gavin, and he thought he could pull a fast one over on the people and on our recall movement, but we didn't let him get away with it, and we're not letting him get away with it. So it may be politics as usual in Sacramento with the changing of the seats on his Titanic administration, but he's not going to be able to pull it off altogether in the long run. And so, the truth is, when we get all of these signatures in and we get down to that final day when they have to certify the election, Shirley Weber is going to sit there with Elena Kounalakis, the lieutenant governor, and there's going to be so many political shenanigans. And now Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis is going to be the one who's going to have to make that final call to say, gosh, did we make this thing happen? And will there be a recall election? So the politicians, and like Eric Early likes to say, the Politburo of Sacramento,
that's what it
is going to be held accountable, and we're going to make sure that they continue to be held accountable. Because the good thing is that we've got the ear of the media, and we have a really big microphone now on lots of radio stations, lots of TV stations, and, we're not going to let them get away with it. So, let the politicians continue to play the games, and we're going to go ahead and hold them checkmate.
Randy, I appreciate that, but I got to tell you, it's the only thing you ever said that hurt my feelings. Do you mean I'm only a little bit smarter than Gavin Newsom?
Well, I think you're a bright light there, Michael Netter.
I'm just saying, I think most of us are a lot smarter than Gavin Newsom.
Humor and your fast acting, acts. I'm telling you, we are a formidable force, my boys.
Janice, have we answered your question?
Yes, you have. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
calling,
calling,
out there,
Janice.
Get us some signatures. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, I will. Bye-bye.
Eric, I want to spend a little bit of this segment here. We've tantalized the fans a little bit in hour one. We'll go to hour two. Talking about, I've gotten a lot of information today about questions about, the elections, this, that. And I'm really not that bright. I'm probably smarter than Gavin, but let's go to somebody brighter, Eric, and talk a little bit about the lawsuit that you're a part of.
Okay, I know you guys out there know this, but Netter is highly intelligent, and Orrin Heatley is more intelligent. No, but these guys are unbelievable.
Now I'm really
and
one of my talents is I surround myself with good quality people.
That's very smart. And Newsom is low intelligence, and Alex Padilla is even lower intelligence. And this is what we have running the state right now. It's unbelievable. But as far as the lawsuit. The Election Integrity Project, great organization, is the lead plaintiff. Several of us former congressional candidates, I'm one of them, are also plaintiffs. We got a lawyer I'm not the lawyer handling the lawsuit, and we're suing all of the folks who are in charge of the elections in the state of California because it's not to overturn the prior election, but we need to get our hands wrapped around the voting in this state going forward because all of us candidates know, and all you guys know, and all your volunteers know. The candidates know from speaking up and down the state. There are millions and millions of conservatives in this state of California, and we know something is not right with what's going on with these elections here, and we're trying our best to get to the bottom of it. We're looking into all of these quote-unquote emergency rules and regulations that were instituted by the empty suit Newsom for the last election that allowed people like low intelligence Padilla and this registrar recorder in L.A. County, for example, who I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, named Dean Logan, who allowed them to let votes go through, mail-in votes go through without barely any kind of check on how they were mailed in, what the signatures were like. We want to do an autopsy on that. What happened? We're going to try and attack these unconstitutional rules and regulations on allowing votes like that to get through. And our plan is also to do our best to do an audit of these computerized voting machines up and down the state, because I am, and so many of us are terribly concerned about how such machines can affect the vote and how they may have been infiltrated to affect the vote in a bad way for Republicans. So this is a great lawsuit. There's a great website to go to read more about it and to donate to, frankly, to help pay for the lawsuit. I'll get that address out before the end of the show, the email or the website address. But, is a bunch of people have gotten together and we're doing whatever we can to get our hands wrapped around this mess of voting in this state. Mike, Orrin, we're here in L.A. County. L.A. County is the largest county in the United States of America. It's bigger than all but 5 states in America. And I've been watching the vote tallies in this state for a number of years now. And I've been saying for a number of years before this last election, you look at the counts, I say L.A. County is where Republicans go to die in the state of California. And I'm saying, how is that possible? Because what a lot of people don't know is we have more than 1 million registered Republicans in the county of Los Angeles alone. Something's not right. And I know these clowns who are running the state know that if they can manipulate L.A. County's votes, they can affect, elections statewide, and they have been doing that, and we have to get to the bottom of it.
And I also want to add, too, in the minute that's left, it's occurred to me as I study statistics that while we're watching the statewide elections to get Gavin out of office, as I've talked to you before about Eric, and you, Orrin, and you, Randy, and everybody, that the downstream votes don't add up. The number of people that appear to add, but that's something for another segment here. Listen, Orrin, Randy, Eric, everybody out there, we have exciting news. We've got another hour to go, and we want you to call in, or you're going to have to hear me keep talking.
RecallGavin2020.com.
And where are they going to call next hour, Orrin?
1-800-222-5222.
Repeat it again for the slightly slow.
1-800-222-5222.
Again, this is Recall. Friday nights at the French Laundry. Recall Radio. RecallGavin2020.com. KBC. Stay tuned for one more hour.
This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020. Number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Prov 39 LLC, DGB Ranch. This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020. Number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Prov 39 LLC, DGB Ranch. This is your 5-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com. In a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, Maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
All the leaves are brown. And the sky is gray. California dream.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the second exciting hour tonight of Friday Nights at the French Laundry, where the cuisine's always about California politics, and the main entree is the recall of Gavin Newsom. If you missed our first hour, too bad for you. But good news is we've got, again, a fantastic crew tonight. I'm the maitre d'. We've got Orrin Heatley.
Glad to be here.
Eric Early helping me out tonight because traffic is backing up.
Love being here with you guys.
As dang well you should, Eric. And, of course, we have our head cashier, the fabulous, the wonderful Randy Economy.
And Randy can tell you that being of the French Laundry, Friday nights at the French Laundry are not free. This is very expensive, folks. So we need your donations. We need your contribution to help keep us on the air. If you like listening, if you like the content, go to RecallGavin2020.com and you can help contribute to keep this show alive.
And, Orrin, that's a great point. I want to make something here, that the RecallGavin2020.com, the movement that we've created, we've gathered over 1.8 million signatures, and we need to get to, does not stop at March 17th. The purpose of this radio show, with having folks like Eric and all of us on, is to keep the drive going so we can take back this state. It's my opinion we made a mistake in 2003. Arnold, we're done. We're not. You need to help us today, everywhere you can. we don't care how much money it is, but go to recallgavin2020.com. If you like what you hear, heck, if you're a Democrat and don't like what you hear, still go to recallgavin2020.com and donate. We really would appreciate it. We have to keep this drive going.
This isn't over when on March 17th when the recall qualifies. We still have a lot of work to do.
We do. We've got candidates that need to have remember, the beauty of the recall is we have an open forum for a lot of candidates to run at once and to get Gavin off the ballot. So we have to remind everybody continuously, right, as to all the reasons, like Orrin talked about in the first hour, of why we need to get Gavin off. Oh, silence for once. Everybody.
Well, I'll jump in there. Listen, Orrin was talking a little bit earlier about the gas tax repeal. So let me. This is Eric speaking. I just give fill in a little meat on the bones on that one. We had this great gas tax repeal movement going. Carl DeMayo in San Diego was one of the people spearheading. It was really amazing. Got it on the ballot. Amazing. You know how tough it is to get something on the ballot. And then what happens in the state of California is you get a ballot and title summary. It's the thing that us voters read when we get the thing in the mail, or the little booklet in the mail, or if we go vote, we see it there. And that's usually what most of us see about what the ballot's, the proposition's about. And that is drafted by the Attorney General of the state of California. Our Attorney General, this guy Javier Becerra, right now, another one you can't trust as far as you could throw him, political hack of the highest magnitude. He wrote that ballot and title summary. He didn't say anything about the fact that it was a gas tax. He said, if you don't pass this, your roads won't be safe. So of course, everybody went to went to vote. This was before the universal mail-in balloting insanity. Went in, read it. Said, I want my streets safe, so I am not in favor of the repeal. What most people didn't know, because we were completely lied to by this Attorney General, was that when we said no on the repeal, we were saying, yes, please tax my gas, each gallon another 60 plus cents a gallon. It was total lie. And then what Orrin was referring to before, then that money, it was sold to us that the money was going to, for the gas tax, go to fix roads. No, Gavin Newsom and this Politburo in Sacramento have taken all that money and used it for things having nothing to do with fixing roads.
There was even a lockbox provision that was the voters had voted in because they knew they could see the writing on the wall. That money was going to get siphoned off and used for other unintended projects. And they voted for a lockbox provision mandating that money had to be spent for its intended purpose to upgrade our infrastructure and maintain our roads.
And I want to get this in because although it seems like we have a long time, we have Brad Drakus on in the next segment here from Pacific Law. This is a good time, Eric. We talk about what politics does, right? What politics does with money is talk about these no-bid contracts where the biggest donors are buying, it's my opinion, they're buying contracts. United Health, Blue Shield, the common ones, but there's 11 of them.
Well, let me go into
about
that.
I have a pretty big procurement.
Well, Newsom has just recently given out these no-bid contracts, meaning he said to, Blue Shield, I believe, he said, here's X millions of dollars of state money. We want you to handle something related to the COVID crisis. The law in the state of California requires contracts like that to be sent out for public bidding. And what the reason we have that law is to prevent, for example, fraud, to prevent favoritism, to prevent cronyism, to prevent perhaps, under-the-table payoffs. It is to make it a transparent process, and it's really to protect the taxpayers of the state of California because we're the ones who pay for all this stuff at the end of the day. But Newsom, another thing he did was he cited the COVID crisis, and he said, I have the emergency powers to hire these outfits without having anybody bid for it. And sure enough, he hired outfits that the evidence shows have paid a fortune to his campaign and to other causes that he supports.
Profiteering off
corruption.
the pandemic.
And what's even worse than that for everybody out there, there's an article. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to say profiteering another time?
Total corruption.
Total corruption. And Cal Matters had an article out today that talks counties raise concerns. The counties are raising concerns about the United Health contract. It's interesting, Randy. I'm going to throw it to you for a second because we talk about the press a lot, right? And the press is kind of focused a lot on the Blue Shield contract, but the United Health contract is a bigger donor. Cal Matters has an article out today about counties are really concerned because this United Health distribution of they're arranging the appointments. It's been a disaster, yet the counties don't have the option to opt out of this contract.
Listen, guys, this is just another example of what you and all your incredible volunteers around the state of California are fighting for. This Newsom is so arrogant. It is his arrogance that has got, if you have to point to one of the top 5 things why people are just done with this pampered, empty suit, it's his arrogance. And his arrogance, how he just enters into these contracts, complete corruption, and he does it without batting an eye. It's just shocking, and we're done with it.
And I want to know how, Randy, I would need your suggestions. I need your help here. We're going to jump to Susan in a second here before the break. How do we get the press to publicize? We're a big story right now, right? But I want the underlying story to be a little bit, or the additional stories about this corruption taking place. An article or two comes out, and then it kind of vaporizes. The public forgets. Randy, how can we keep pushing the envelope on this?
Well, we keep doing what we're doing every day, and we don't let up, and we keep putting. There's another thing, too, that you mentioned here. Let's go back to the original dinner at the French Laundry. Let's go back to that night in November.
Randy, we lost you, but what another? That's okay. Randy will be back. Susan from Penn Valley. I think it's our Susan, right?
Yes.
And Susan, what I think you want to talk about here is what we're doing to document this journey to keep pushing the cause. Is that true?
That is correct. Jeff Rodan is doing a documentary film based on the recall of Gavin Newsom. And this is he's dedicating his life to this right now. He's not working anything else. But it's going to take like $75,000 to produce this documentary film. As far as I know, he is following Orrin Heatley, Mike, and Randy around, along with a lot of the volunteers, getting coverage of what they're doing in the field. He has set up a GoFundMe to help him with his everyday expenses, and you can find it if you go to GoFundMe.com and search Jeff Rodan, and it's under Jeffrey Roldan, Roldan, and you can also see it on every single one of our Facebook groups or the Recall Facebook groups. If everybody could donate $5, $10, $25, everything helps. I just can't wait to see this documentary film.
It is an important documentary that he's doing. It's good work. I think that we need to chronology this event and have some sort of a history to it. And but his efforts are independent of our PAC. It's an independent film. And he's incredibly talented. You can see other works that he's done. Liberty Lockdown is one of his other films that he's done recently, and you can view that as well. Just Google Liberty Lockdown, and you can see some of the work that he's done. We're excited about having him do it, and we're helping to promote what he's doing, and we appreciate the work.
Absolutely. And we've had
This is
remember
history
Jeff
in the
was on a
making.
little. Go ahead, Susan. I'm sorry.
Want to see this film.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to see it because I might be in it, but that's a story for another day. Susan, thank you very much, and thank you for being one of the main driving forces behind the recall. Susan is not just another caller, not just another customer, but a very intricate and special part of our team.
Jeff is taking a look behind the scenes because as we're in the radio station, we're out front and center, and he is taking a look behind the scenes and, the mailroom crew and giving a good idea of what's taking place up and down the state with the people on the street, in the field, on a daily basis, and it has been an incredible journey.
And if you want to talk more to people behind the scenes, where are you going to call, Lauren? 1-800-222-5222. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry, 790 KABC, all the way from Southern California up to the top.
You've only had an appetizer. This is your Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, Maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
Well, welcome back to Friday Nights at the French Laundry, all about the recall of Gavin Newsom. Celebrating 1.8 we have, but driving to get 2 million, and we need to get there. I'm very excited about our next guest, but I must admit, I'm Mike Netter. Before we introduce him, I'm a little bit intimidated. Brad Drakis is a fantastic attorney. We have Eric Early, who's an attorney, and we have Orrin, who's a retired police officer. So I got to admit, the last time I was with two attorneys and a police officer, that's a story for another day.
I believe it's Brad Dacus of the Pacific
Brad, I get
Justice
everybody's
Institute.
name wrong, and I was on Brad's show yesterday. Brad, don't take it personally. Brad, it's a delight to have you.
It's great to be on the program. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on your show yesterday too. Tell us a little bit about Pacific Law, what you do, and then I want to kind of get to the main reason I wanted to have you on tonight.
Sure. Yeah, we at the Pacific Justice Institute are a nonprofit 501c3 legal defense organization, and we have offices all across the United States, coast to coast, doing all our work without charge. And one of the things that we've been doing, we have like about 50 cases in active litigation, but this just broke the wire, so you may not even receive the press release yet. It just went out. But I'm just pleased to announce that we've been defending churches in the San Francisco Bay Area that were shut down by Governor Gavin Newsom and Santa Clara County. Well, the good news is it was just announced just within the last 3 hours, that the Supreme Court has granted our emergency injunction on behalf of those churches to reopen and not to have to be closed this Sunday. And it's the last county in the country to prohibit all church indoor gatherings of any kind. So this is a great victory for churches to reopen, sends a loud signal to Governor Gavin Newsom and similar-minded people at the county level that they cannot engage in this kind of tyranny anymore. It's a solid victory. We at PGI filed this emergency injunction, and we're very delighted with the outcome, and we're going to continue with the case. The rest of the case as it moves up from the Ninth Circuit to the Supreme Court.
Great job, Brad. Great job.
Brad, do you know Eric? Eric, you guys ever met?
I don't think I've ever met you, Brad, but great job on that case. And, so people will now be able to worship thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling in their place of worship up there. And which county is it, Brad? Santa Clara?
Santa Clara County, which is interesting because it's also the home basically for big tech. Where the other area of tyranny has been so flagrant.
Yeah, this is the problem, Brad. All the great patriots in California fight to open these places of worship. We're now getting these great rulings. They open up, and then this empty suit up there takes credit for letting people go back to their place of worship. And the mainstream media is right there behind them. It's unfortunate.
Brad, I have to ask. You said you do this all. What, pro bono? Is that the right term?
That's right, without charge, always.
So where does the bulk of your funding come from, my friend?
I tell you, it comes from moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, individuals, private business owners, churches. That's where our support comes from. And
if somebody would like to donate to your cause, where would they go to find that information?
They could go to simply pji.org, P for Pacific, J for Justice, I for Institute.org, pji.org. They also can sign up to get our Legal Insider weekly newsletter. It's short, it's to the point, but it's very insightful, and it's really important, as I think you'll agree, that we need to go out of our way to get information. We cannot count on Facebook. We cannot count on YouTube or Google or Twitter. We need to get this information directly from valuable sources, and that's one thing that we provide on our website through our Legal Insider newsletter that people can sign up for at pji.org.
Brad, for the average person like me, when something happens, I have friends that run a small business, just across the board, when something comes up, really, where do they go? A lot of times they can't afford an attorney. Explain to me a little bit, if you were the average person, what would you do?
Well, the average person, if they don't have anywhere to go, just folds their cards and gives up and surrenders to the state or whatever tyranny they're dealing with. But that's where we fit in. The good news is that we make sure that no one is ever left on the side of the road anywhere that the U.S. flag is flying, anywhere, including Micro-Asia Pacific. We had a case way out in a place I never even knew we existed. But we do this all without charge, anywhere our flag is flying, all 50 states and territories. And we're unique in that we don't just cherry-pick high-profile cases. If it deals with religious freedom, parental rights over their kids against the government, whether it's a public school or social workers, or religion or sanctity of human life, whether it's the unborn or people who are born and they're trying to pull the plug on them prematurely and sell their body parts. I mean, we go to bat for all of them without charge, turning no one away ever, and we've done it for more than 2 decades by God's grace, and it's a real blessing to be able to do that and to help so many across the country on an ongoing basis.
Randy, do you have, I notice you're back with us here in the restaurant. Anything you want to ask Brad or while you have the opportunity?
The thing I want to ask you, Brad, is what motivates you to be able to do this? I know a lot of attorneys look at it as a financial situation, but what motivates you to do what you do every day?
That's a great question. God just put in my, and I don't want to spiritualize this, because I'm sure we have a mixed audience, but the reality is, I really think God just put it on my heart to defend religious freedom. I interned with an institute back east called Rutherford, and while in law school a long time ago, and it was just on my heart, and the opportunity opened up, and I opened up an office for Rutherford and coordinated litigation in 14 states. And when they consolidated and scaled way back, instead of going back east to head up their public affairs office, I knew there was a huge need here on the West Coast, and I responded to that, opened up Pacific Justice, had $5,000 in my pocket to pay for a secretary and free office space and stationery for 3 months. And after that, if I didn't have the funding, I was going to shut it down. And God was gracious, and the funding came in. And now we have offices across the country. We have a radio commentary heard on over just almost 800 stations across the country, Monday through Friday. Another half-hour show heard on over 500 stations across the country and transmitters. And so it's been exciting to see how God in His grace has really raised it up. I don't have I don't have a desire to argue for the Supreme Court myself personally. That's not my thrill. My goal is to make sure that everyone gets help and to build up other attorneys on our staff, and it's sort of a George Washington philosophy of management, and he's my role model, if you will, is how I try to run PJI, and it's been very effective.
Well, the thing is that Orrin and I and Mike and Eric, we talk daily, sometimes 30 and 40 times a day. And I think there's a commonality in regards to all of this, is because, we're all driven by God, and we all have stories and we all have backgrounds. And sometimes when a cause is bigger than us, and that is what we're doing right now, sometimes you just have to turn it over to faith, and you have to turn it over to a higher power. And I think that's one of the motivating things that Orrin has instilled in me personally as a man, and also as someone who's a part of his team and Mike's team and Robin's team and Team Recall, so to speak. And you know, I think God is working through us, and I know that sounds really trite, but I really do believe that in this movement, and whoever your God is, and I believe we're kind of working all in the same way right now, and it's magical.
Brad, before we're going to hit a break here pretty quick here, I want to make sure, again, we tell people your website, how to contribute. Make the point, too, before we do that, what the Recall is doing is the Recall, the galvanizing movement across California is bringing awareness to what you do, bringing awareness to what Eric's doing, Randy does, what everybody's doing, and that's one of the powers. But again, before we run out of time here and they cut me off, which you know they do, Brad, tell us again how your website and how people can contribute and how to get a hold of you.
You bet. The website, it's really interesting. We have great resources, empowering resources there, including an article on how businesses can reopen early despite the governor's orders and across the country. But it's tji.org, tji.org, and it's just a real privilege to be able to work with all of you in this wonderful movement to do what many people said was impossible. But I clearly see a hand of providence in what's going on, and it's exciting to see truth finally winning. And I believe it is going to win in the end in this battle against the tyranny of the governor.
Brad, thank you very, very much. We really appreciate you coming on, my friend. God bless you for all the work you're doing. And, Brad, before you got to go, you know I've got to hear you say recallgavin2020.com, right?
I've said it on my shows a number of times, many times. Recallgavin2020.com. I downloaded my petition. We hosted a party with petition signing, and I just encourage everyone to step up. We're almost across the finish line, and this is a victory for we the people, and we cannot forget what's at stake for the voice of the people to be respected in the end, to prevail.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, my friend. I just want to hear it in the sound of your voice again. It sounds so pleasant when you say it. Brad, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on tonight. We're going to roll the break. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We will get to you next segment. Remember, call in. We've got a few people on hold right now. We will get to you next segment and roll back to Eric Early at 1-800-222-5222. That's 1-800-222. 5222. We've lost the chef. Friday nights at the French Laundry, KABC 790, up and down California.
It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California with executive chef Orrin Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and the wise cashier Randy Economy.
And the maitre d's backed up tonight by Eric Early. Thank you, everybody, for staying here at our wonderful second on our Friday nights at the French Laundry. Ooh, I like the way he does that. Okay? Don't be taking my accents. That's a story for another day. But I want to start with some phone calls here, get some feedback from the crowd. Let's go to line one. Kevin from Brentwood.
Kevin, welcome to the show.
Oh, hey, man, I want to thank you guys for everything you guys are doing.
God bless, my friend.
I'm so proud of what you guys are doing. But I want to read you something. In October 2020 interview, Joe Biden said, "We have put together the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics."
The king of Freudian slips, right?
Mean to say that, but I'm gonna go now to what we have a store in Brentwood. I have over 100 people that own stores in Brentwood. They all voted for Hillary Clinton 4 years ago. Every single one of them said they would vote for Donald Trump. And they told me that their votes wouldn't count because they knew there would be a voter fraud.
Yep.
And I'm so proud that you guys are doing this. Like, I listen to Jay Sekulow on, he's not on 790, he's on like 830, but they do this, the Supreme Court, and they sue and the voter fraud, and keep up the good work, man. You guys are phenomenal.
God bless. Thank you for your words of encouragement, my friend.
Thank you so much for everything
it really
you guys
means a
are
lot.
doing. I love listening to you guys. I wish you guys were on every night.
Well, Help contribute at recallgavin2020.com, and we can be. Thank you, Kevin, very much.
There you
God
go.
bless
There you go.
Let's go next to Linda from Burbank.
It's expensive to run these shows.
It is expensive to run these shows. Just alone feeding me, Orrin, is expensive.
Hello.
Linda, how you doing?
Linda,
I
welcome to the
understand
show.
Welcome to our show.
I'm calling to continue what I was saying last week when I called because I only had 2 minutes.
Sorry about that. You hit us near the end. Thank you for being on hold.
This is about Shirley Weber, Secretary of State Shirley Weber, that replaced Alex Padilla. You know, when I said that people need to call and, give her pressure to undo everything Alex Padilla did, prove herself worthy of the job as Secretary of State. One of the things that I forgot to mention was that to do away with mail-in ballots and just use absentee ballots if people don't want to go to the voting booth.
Yep.
And if Newsom already, signed it into law that we have to have mail-in ballots or that he signed executive order, one or the other, all Weber has to do is say to Newsom, hey, you're the one getting recalled.
Yeah, let me just jump in there, Linda. This is Eric Early. Thanks for calling in. You referred to absentee ballots, and so I just want to make this clear for the audience. I know many people know this. Absentee ballots we had for many, many years up until the last election where Newsom and company went hog wild with universal mail-in balloting. Absentee ballot was fine because you had to actually contact the local voting authorities. You had to show proof that you wanted a ballot mailed to you. Your address was checked, and you had to pass muster to get one mailed to you. Totally different than what has now started here in California, around so much of the country, where they're just dropping hog wild millions of ballots into the mailboxes to go out. It's a travesty, frankly, and the Election Integrity Project, which is the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit I was talking about earlier that I'm a part of, they found 400,000 or so names on the voting rolls in L.A. County alone. They got an order a couple of years ago that Padilla, the former Secretary of State, had to purge those names from the voting rolls. He still had not gotten that done by the time that Knucklehead just appointed him to become senator. And so, and yet Election Integrity Project isolated and found that most of those 400,000 had ballots mailed to them. So, and talking about that lawsuit that I'm a part of, folks, if you want to go to it, read about the lawsuit, and you want to donate to Election Integrity Project to help pay for the lawsuit, it's fairandtransparentelections.com.
Thank you. And Randy, Linda, before you cash out on this call, Randy, our cashier, always has a comment on Shirley Weber. Randy, do chime in on that.
Shirley Weber is a hand-picked puppet of Gavin Newsom to be the chief election officer of California. And her job right now, and I don't care what anybody says, and somebody's going to have to prove me wrong, is to run interference for the governor against the recall. And, if you want to talk about political shenanigans and political game playing, the appointment of Shirley Weber is emblematic of who Gavin Newsom is. And he intentionally got Alex Padilla out of Sacramento to go ahead and so he can have his say and his hand-picked crony, Shirley Weber, to be the chief election officer in California that will ultimately decide his fate.
Not that Padilla's any beauty, Randy.
He's not any beauty, but you know what? We're going to hold
he
him
was
these guys
picked by the
accountable.
people.
We're putting the feet on the fire, and we're not going to let him get away with this.
So, Linda, have we now alleviated all your fears about the California voting system?
I'd like to weigh in before Linda leaves. One thing that I'd like to just say, there are some things that we can do to tighten up the voter rolls and so forth. And I think that if the Secretary of State applies the same stringent standards to the mail-in ballots that they do our recall petitions, and each signature is validated as strictly as ours are and will be, I would have a lot more confidence in the system. A simple thumbprint on each form, not the envelope, but on the form. Put a thumbprint.
I do that.
And look at every signature and check it across.
Great idea.
Now, and so this is something people may not know. It came out a couple of years ago while I was still working in the courthouse. There were about 800,000 people who received driver's licenses who were here in our country illegally, and they received jury notices because of the voter registration, motor voter registration. So it would be fair to say and assume that they also received ballots in the mail to vote.
Linda, thank you very much. I'm going to roll a couple more callers here before break. I want to take a call. Thank you very much.
Let me just jump in there, Mike, because just adding to Orrin's point, that was one of the major gripes about low intelligence Padilla, and I'm sure Shirley Weber's following in his footsteps. Nobody was accurately and checking and looking to see if those voters that were registered, non-American citizens that were registered, who got driver's licenses, whether that seeped through to making them actual voters. And everybody I know suspects that so many of them have become actual voters, and they're non-American citizens.
That's the whole thing I talked to Election Integrity Project today. Before we roll to the break here in 1 minute, Tim, Holiday, Gilroy, got to put you at the top of the line, brother. Roll on in, all puns intended.
Well, right on for the roll in. Hey, guys, how you doing? A big, big thank you to Orrin Heatley for putting together such a wonderful organization here. I'm over here in the San Joaquin Valley with Ellen Watola. Hi. And we had a wonderful welcoming committee for yours truly, Gavin Newsom, over in Fresno earlier. It was such a great little welcoming committee when we were shouting out, Gavin Newsom's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho.
I saw the text.
Yeah, I saw your text. I didn't get a chance to see it there. For everybody knows, all the graphics that you see out there in the 30 seconds I have left in this segment, Ellen has been a fantastic volunteer up and down. Tim is truly what I call special ops. He's amazing. He puts together the graphics that we push out. We're all gathering in Central Valley in Bakersfield this Sunday from 3 to 5.
You guys are all amazing. I just want to say, just be sitting here in a room with these two guys that have spearheaded this legendary movement, with all of you great volunteers out there. This is just an amazing
As
thing
we go
to be
to break,
a part of.
what were you chanting again?
Oh, Gavin Newsom's got to go. Hey, hey.
Say it again one more time before break.
Gavin Newsom's got to go. Hey, hey.
Yeah. You gotta love it, baby. Remember, we got some callers left. It's 1-800-222-5222. That's 1-800-222-5222.
Recall Gavin2020.com.
Friday nights at the French Laundry. Believe it or not, we've got one segment left. We're going to clear the queue with callers at 790 KABC. All of California out to Recall Gavin.
You've only had an appetizer. This is your Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, Maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
Well, I can't believe it. We are finishing up our second hour, and even though I feel like they've served the coffee already, because I'm still fired up. And the reason I'm fired up is we've got 1.8 million signatures, but remember, we really need to have 2 million, as we've been discussing tonight, the election system and what's going on. Here's the scoreboard, everybody out there. 2 things we need up until the day of March 10th, ending on March 17th, but we need your signature by March 10th, and we need to continue the drive. So when you go to recallgavin2020.com, remember, print, sign, mail, donate if you can, because we really need the money to continue the show and the drive forward to replace the governor and participate. Go out there in your community and keep it going.
Sign it, circulate it, and donate.
There you go. Okay, we've got some callers here I want to run through here. Randy, you still there?
I'm still here, man.
All
I'm
right,
still
why don't
here.
we talk to Tony from Valencia? He thinks the recall might be confusing. You fear like previous recalls. Tell us why, Tony. We got about a minute here. Talk to me. Tony?
All these Democrats. Can you hear me?
I can, Tony.
Oh, great. No, is this all these, games that they play, and like they did with the gas tax, how they reworded everything to make, the opposite work for them. And, I'm just really tired of the games that they play. And these lawsuits, I hope these lawsuits finally come to fruition, because, it's just amazing what they can get away with.
It is, Tony.
And enough is enough.
Yep, and I'm happy to say what's really important are people like you, because California is uniting. Again, this is volunteer-driven, right? So everything that you say, a lot of people think, and I'm not being overly optimistic, we are going to make it happen.
I sure hope so, and I'm really proud of you guys for, speaking for the rest of us, and we're out there to, support you and make California, great again, basically.
You got it. Thank you very much.
God bless you for that.
God bless
Thank
you, my friend.
You have a great night.
Next, we're going to go to somebody who says, I'm a recall volunteer. Owen knows me. Now, normally, Monty, that wouldn't get you in, but we're going to go and do that.
Monty
on line
is a
5, you're on
good
the
friend
air.
of the recall. He's been a champion of the cause from the day one.
Thank you, Oren.
Welcome aboard, my friend.
Hey, thank you guys. I was involved with the first one, and the second one is so much more professional. And that attorney that was on, if he needs any help with checking the other votes or any of that stuff, I'll jump right in with him too. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
And where are you listening from today?
Marysville, Yuba City.
We already have a statewide show.
We certainly do. We have people from all over. Monty, thank you for everything. This is Mike Netter you've done for the recall. Eric, the attorney who needs a lot of accounting, because Eric's an attorney, not an accountant. So he could use help with all the accounting he can get, right?
Well, I'm not good with math. That's why a lot of us become attorneys.
Well, I'm not good at either. That's why some of us become advocates.
Thank you, Monty. You sound like a soup.
Wrote down, and I'm going to try to contact you, and I'd love to be able to show that California was absolutely red.
Monty, you sound like a superstar, and I'll tell you, somebody who's run for office now twice in this state, as you know, and as I know these guys here in the studio know, we have millions of people, conservatives in this state of California, just would not know it from the mainstream media, and you would not know it from some of these voting shenanigans going on out there. But this state is going to be the worm is going to turn this state, and this recall is the tip of the iceberg.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Monty. We'll be talking to you soon. Keep up everything you're doing for us. God bless you. I am going to go to the next caller quick, but I'm going to give him about 1 minute. That's Brent from Los Angeles, because Eric's going to take this one. Randy, we still know you're out there. The next one's being pawned off to you, but talk to your fans.
Hey, Brent, how you doing, buddy?
Good evening, Oren, Randy, and awesome Eric Early, the next governor of California.
Brent, you're amazing.
And Eric.
Thanks for calling. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Eric, I just want to see if you've announced to the KABC listeners your 10-point gubernatorial plan to make California great again. And when you become governor, do you promise to complete the multi-billion-dollar bullet train to Bakersfield?
Well, Brent, thank you for calling. For the folks out there listening, Brent, I don't even know how you found me on the show today. I have a regular show on AM 870 from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on Sundays. It's called The Early Edition, and I know Brent calls in there, and Brent, always love talking to you. As Brent knows, and so many listeners of my show know, that I am definitely considering, I'm running for something again, not sure what it's going to be yet, but we're definitely in going through the stages you go through.
On that note, I know that there have been a couple of people that have tossed their hat in the ring already, and I just think at this stage the recall hasn't been qualified yet. It might just be a little premature. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, Brent, we appreciate it. But
and
at
I
this
agree
point,
with that.
We support nobody for governor, no matter who. Oh, wait, let me retract that. There's one person we don't support for governor, and that's Gavin Newsom. Outside of that, anybody could do a better job. Brent, God bless you. Thanks for the phone call.
Thanks,
calling
Brent.
Eric on his other show. Thank you very, very much. Randy, how about talking the next one with us? It's Frank from Downey, because Frank's concerned the recall might be fixed. It sounds like he needs proper change. So can I toss you to our cashier, Frank?
Yes.
Hey, Frank.
Can. Hey, this is Frank. Hi, Eric. Hi, Brad.
Hey.
You got Mike, Orrin, Randy, and Frank. You're going to be talking to Randy here, who's quite the political strategist who might be able to tell you you're concerned the recall might be fixed. Explain to us what you mean by that.
Well, I'm concerned about the rejection of authentic signatures for the recall. We've seen bias in the recorder's office and some local officials, and I'm not saying all of them, but we go to some of these government offices and we've seen some obvious bias. Is there anything that can be done to prevent rejection of authorized signatures for the recall?
That's a great question. And what we keep saying is our job is to go ahead and make sure that we overwhelm every one of the 58 different county registrar voters' offices with signatures. And if we can get more than 2 million or 2.1 or 2.3 between now and St. Patrick's Day, which is our ultimate drop deadline, it's not going to leave any question in anybody's mind in regards to the validity rate in which we're doing. But right now, I think Orrin can probably confirm that we have about 81% of our signatures that we're signing in so far have been validated. And that's a great validation rate.
Right. 83.7% validation rate. And I want to be clear on something else here, some rumors running around. Rumor number one is they're going to validate us all the way to the end. Rumor number two is we cannot go in and watch the validation. So, Frank, I want to be clear here. There's a lot going on in the election process. We have to trust that the system works as much as it can. I'm being really candid with you here, right? We get 2 million signatures. It's going to be really hard for them to say, oh, you went to a 25%, invalid signatures. That's probably not going to happen, and that's the best way to stop them from doing everything. Frank, we're running a little bit low on time. Thank you very much for your call. I'm getting the 3-minute mark. I want to jump to Irene really quick here. Thank you, Frank. It's just to say you love the French Laundry song, right?
Oh, yes. Hi. Yes. Yes, I like that song. I like actually all the music you play, and I want to know how to purchase the French Laundry song.
I'll tell you what, I can talk to that. This is Orrin Heatley. It's done by an artist by the name of Remy, R-E-M-Y. And the title of the song, It Wasn't Me. And you can find that on YouTube and look up Remy, It Wasn't Me, Shaggy Parody.
And you can also find it on RecallGavin2020.com YouTube channel, where you can see all the other songs you're talking about, Irene, there. Thank you very much, Irene. Thank you for being on hold. I've got to wrap it up and keep on rolling here. To everybody out there, bless you. Randy, bless you. Orrin, everybody. Eric, we've got 2 minutes left here, but I want to take a couple seconds and say this second hour for me and for everybody here has been powerful. And what's really amazing is we never get it all in. So each of you now have 20 seconds. Eric, give us your final 20 seconds.
Huge honor to be on with you guys, to be working with you guys and your great volunteers all around the state, and a huge honor to talk to all you great listeners out there all around Southern California. We're going to do this, and the power is in your hands.
Randy, you got your 20 seconds.
Join me and Orrin Heatley and my co-host, Dennis Zine, tomorrow at 11 o'clock right here on KABC for Recall Radio with the Randy Economy Show.
Yeah, baby. Orrin, you got 22 seconds.
RecallGavin2020.com. We are not done. We're not going to stop with this recall. We're going to get it done, but we're not stopping. It's just the beginning. Politics and business as usual in California are over as you once knew it.
Okay, so remember, everybody out there, there's a lot going on. We've got literally about 10 days left to collect signatures. We need to get this done. Everybody out there, it's up to you. The people of California to take back California, and you're going to do that with RecallGavin2020.com. Print, sign, mail, donate, and participate. And the way to participate this weekend is see Ellen, Tim, all of us out in Bakersfield. Take place if you're in Central Valley in that car parade all the way from Fresno down to the Liberty Bell, starting at 3 o'clock at Bakersfield. Tune in next week, 7 o'clock, Friday nights at the French Laundry. Please contribute if you can. Do participate. We need you. It's recallgavin2020.com. Friday nights at the French Laundry.
We the people.
We the people. Friday nights at the French Laundry are taking back the state of California.
This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020, number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Prov 39 LLC, DGB Ranch.